Hey, how's it going everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So last week I took on the game with Mienshao and of course it just did fantastic. Fighting types are absolutely broken in this game, and as we bring in the tier list we see, yeah, it's sitting right there at the top of the B tier. I pretty much would expect nothing less from this Pokemon, and the crazy thing is it can be improved even further on that. So yeah, evolving late doesn't even matter. Mienfoo is just one of the best first stage Pokemon of all time, so that's awesome. Definitely go check out that video if you haven't already, and if you see anything else on the tier list here that piques your interest, there's videos for all of them on the channel. Definitely go check out that playlist link down below at the end of the video and on that little iCard thing that popped up. There is a couple more re-ranks left to do, but we see that we're filling out the tier list pretty well. We now actually have a Pokemon in every tier. Poor Amoonguss right now just sitting right down there in F tier, but you know, it's okay, buddy. I still like Yeso. Anyway though, let's go ahead and get into it, because today we are going to be doing another really interesting late evolution with Bisharp. I think this is just one of the best designed Pokemon. I don't think I've ever really heard of somebody that just doesn't like Bisharp's design. It's just really cool, very awesome. And of course you do have the, you know, chess inspiration. You have Pawniard's the pawn, Bisharp the bishop, and even continues on into its future evolution in King Gambit, of course being the king. So yeah, it's just a really fantastic designed Pokemon. And you know, while I haven't really used it too much myself, I have used King Gambit. It was actually on a tournament team that I brought whenever I was playing VGC competitively for, you know, maybe a couple tournaments there. It was pretty fun. I thought it was a really good Pokemon, and yeah, for sure. Although I do remember way back in the day, I did this fun little video where I learned how to, you know, edit sprite colors and stuff, and I did a Bisharp, and I made every single one of them have a different color like the Power Rangers, and I just thought that was hilarious. So if I can find that video, I'll slap it on here, but that was pretty fun. So Pawniard, though, is also another Little Cup staple Pokemon. It is actually really fantastic. Sure, it's not on the same tier level as Mienfoo, but it is a very solid Pokemon in that lower tier, and that's great for us once again, because we're going to be stuck with a Pawniard even longer than we were with a Mienfoo. So this is looking to be pretty much a decent run. Both of the Dark and Steel typing is pretty solid in this game, and I'm really looking forward to it. You see the rules on screen. There's more niche stuff down in the description, and I know it's right at the beginning of the video, but if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do these solo challenges in Pokemon Black and White at least once a week, so there's plenty more for you to watch. My goal is at the end of the year to hit at least 500 subs, and of course I can only do that with your help. So let's go ahead and get into it and see how the Bisharp-line does in Pokemon Black and White. As we get into the run, let's go ahead and break down what we're working with today with Pawniard. And like I said, yeah, this is one of the best first stage Pokemon of all time. Definitely a Little Cup star, and it's not hard to see why. 85 attack on a first stage Pokemon is actually fantastic. 70 base defense is pretty good as well, and we even have a semi-usable 60 base speed. Sure, a little bit low on the HP and special defense, but it's still pretty usable, and once we get to the Eviolite, that will be able to let us take hits decently well. We also have a fantastic typing in Dark and Steel. Sure, we have a 4x weakness to fighting, but honestly, we don't run into that many fighting types until, of course, the very late game, so it's more or less just going to be a benefit to us all overall, and that's just fantastic. We also have one of the best abilities that we could ever have in a solo run with Defiant. Anytime our stats are going to be lowered by our opponents, our attack is actually going to raise by 2 stages. So think of all those intimidates that we have to run into, or random things like sand attack and leer that come out. We're getting attack boosts off of all of that, and that is just absolutely fantastic. One of the best abilities of all time, and definitely going to make Poniard here very, very usable, especially in the early game. So starting off with the level up moveset, we only have Scratch at level 5. I don't think we've ever run a Pokemon that only has one move, but hey, I guess we got a first time for everything. Sure, why not? So we eventually will pick up some dark type stab in Feint Attack, Assurance, and Night Slash, not too bad, and steel type stab in Iron Head very late. But also really, really late, we are going to be getting Swords Dance by level up, which is fantastic. Not many Pokemon get these 2-stage boosting moves because all of those TMs and stuff are in the post game. So anytime we get them is a kind of a big deal for sure. So however, Poniard is going to have to be sticking around for quite a while because we have to get to level 52 to finally see Bisharp. And this Pokemon is also just fantastic. 125 attack is great, just like Mienshao in the upper echelons of power level for this game, and 100 defense, going to be taking good hits, and 70 base speed. It's a little bit low, but with the jolly nature that we're going to be running today, that I decided on, we actually will be getting all the speed that we need, which is fantastic. So as we look at the TM side of things, we are going to be getting things like, of course, Brick Break, Return, Dig, Shadow Claw, X-Scissor, Poison Jab. It's got a lot of really good options right here, and it's got pretty much everything that we would really need. So definitely really looking forward to this one. Bisharp looks absolutely fantastic, and sure, we got to get over that 4 times weakness, but I think he's got the tools to do it. So not really a whole lot is going on in the early game right here, though. So we're going to get into it. Bianca, of course, is going to be no problem at all. But we do have to go into the Dream Yard before we face off with Cheren. We unfortunately are another medium fast growth rate Pokemon. This Pokemon is going to level up very slowly in the early game, so it doesn't have that massive advantage like Mienshao did last week with the medium slow growth rate. However, we will be picking up Fury Cutter along the way, so that's pretty good. Before facing off with Cheren, though, I do want to stop by the Pokemon Center. I am going to deposit my Snivy and actually top off. Of course, with us only having Scratch, we are using it a lot, and then it's going to be time to go face off with Cheren. This is going to be our first run in with a fire type right here, and it is going to cut it really close. It looks like we are going to have to 4-hit KO this Tepig. We get brought down to only 4 HP, and all we have to do is just 2-shot the Purloin because it just boosted our Defiant with that growl. Sure, why not, buddy? So yeah, very easy, cutting it really close against Cheren, but let's go ahead and power through all these gym trainers and first face off with our first gym leader. Of course, we have to face off with Chili, so another running with a fire type. However, we got Fury Cutter, and even though it's going to end up being resisted against this Pansear, it is going to be our best option because we can just power it up on that Lillipup. Unfortunately, though, we're actually speed tying the Pansear right here, so I get beat out one too many times. Incinerate just hits way too hard, and we take a single blackout. However, I'm still going to take that experience. I'm going to run with it, and we're going to, get that little run back. Fury Cutter train has started. It takes 3 to knock out the Lillipup, so we're not quite at max power starting with the Pansear, but critical hit, which actually kind of works against us because we took 3 hits. But thankfully, we win enough of those speed ties, and we're able to knock out the Pansear with a couple Fury Cutters. Let's go. Not half bad. So let's go ahead, get contracted by Fennel, do a little bit of science work, beat up some Plasma dudes, and then we can head out towards Route 3. As usual, we're going to go ahead and head into the preschool to do a little bit of training. These are pretty much the only worthwhile trainers on the entire route, and we even get it over a nice little damage rounding threshold at level 15 right there. After that, we go ahead and face off with Cheren. Yeah, he kind of just doesn't want to attack us, so it's actually a pretty easy win, so why not? We take those. Let's go ahead and head into the Wellspring Cave, clear out a couple plasma guys, grab a couple HM friends, pick up a glitched rare candy in the grass, and then we can head into Nacrene City. Of course, we're going to stop by Pinwheel Forest, grab that TM for Rock Smash, so at least we have a little bit of coverage right now, and pick up an Ether. We're going to also just immediately grab our little friend Timpole right here. Not only is he going to be a great Surf user, but it also gives us the option of using a Persimberry later on into the run, which is very nice. After that, we're going to take care of the nurse. Thankfully, she's no problem whatsoever, so we can just set up a couple Fury Cutters, and we have that healing point set up. We're pretty much going to do only minimal training right here. Obviously, we're not going to touch the guys in the deeper part of the forest, but Juliet right here with her 2 grass types and Kita with his Timpoles are going to give us great experience, and then we can head back to town to deposit our team and then go face off with N. Alright, and if you had any doubts with Fury Cutter, let me dash them right now, because we need Fury Cutter to pop off in this, because he does have a Timber in the back, and low kick does so much damage. But thankfully, Fury Cutter comes through for us. We are able to win that fight first try. In my test playthroughs, that was actually a really tough fight, but thankfully Fury Cutter came through. So let's go ahead, clear out all of the gym trainers in here, no problems whatsoever, and let's face off with Lenora. At long last, we are using a physical attacker that does not care about Intimidate. Yeah, thanks for the attack boost, Lenora. We are just gonna go to town with some feint attacks. We even got a Chesto Berry just in case that Watchog wants to put us to sleep, but easy 2 shots all around. Oh, it's so nice to just absolutely dominate Lenora like that with a Pokemon that's not a fighting type too. So, yeah, obviously the fighting types can usually handle her pretty well, but yeah, that's just great to actually use her Intimidate against her. So, a little bit of catharsis right there for me. So, anyway, let's go ahead and chase the Plasma dudes into the Pinwheel Forest. In Pinwheel, we pretty much only just have to really be careful around that youngster right there. He has another Timber with low kick, and yeah, you just don't want to deal with that. So after that, we're just going to clear out a couple more trainers right here, knock out the trainers on the bridge, and then we can cross that gorgeous Skyover Bridge and head into Castalia City. Big city time, and as usual, we're going to stop by the first skyscraper here, but not grab rats, just get a nice massage from the girl right here before we head up north so we can grab the Eviolite. Once again, this is going to be a fantastic held item for us as we stay unevolved. It is going to give us a 50% boost to our defense and special defense. And yeah, once again, we are going to be staying unevolved for quite a while. It's going to be pretty much stuck over there on the right side of the screen all run, more or less. So let's go ahead, head in towards the gym, start the little plasma chase sequence, but I'm also going to stop by the battle company. We don't really need to do too much training here, but there is a couple experience rich trainers and I want to prepare for later on, and then we can go knock out the plasma dudes on the side street and head into the gym. No problems there. Let's go ahead and face off with Berg. As you might know by now, Struggle Bug is an awful move in Generation 5, but it's even worse for Berg today because it guaranteed drops special attack, which means we get a guaranteed +2 attack boost. Yeah, this is just absolutely free, no problems. 3rd gym badge down. Let's head out towards Route 4. For the first time against Bianca, we're going to see that we can abuse that Intimidate against her as well. Unfortunately, though, DeWatt will live here, and she crits me with the Razor Shell. Thanks. Why not? Thankfully, though, because we have that attack boost, we're able to easily power through her Pansear and Mana in the back. No problem. So let's go ahead and head into Route 4, heal up at the house, and do a little bit of fisherman training. Shoutouts to my boy Andrew, and then we can go face off with Cheren. For the second video in the row, we're actually going to be utilizing Retaliate because we really need something for that Pig Knight in the back. Thankfully, we did get a Defiant boost, so one Retaliate is just going to easily drop that right there, and no problem with the rest of his team. So that fight did give me a little bit of trouble in my test playthroughs as well, but pretty much all I need is just a strong neutral option, which Retaliate gives us, and a Defiant boost. So I just need to be a little bit more patient. So we are going to make a quick pit stop over here, and I accidentally run into Worker Zach. He has a Timber. Thankfully, though, we are able to get through him with no problems, and we can grab the TM for Dig over here, giving us some really solid coverage before heading into Nimbasa City. After chasing off the plasma guys, we can get a bite from some old guy and have a quick chat with Bianca before we're set free into Nimbasa City, where of course we're going to stop by over here and grab the TM for return. However, there is something kind of interesting about Poniard and this line. They start with a base happiness of 35. This is on par with some, you know, the minor legendaries. Think of like when we did the Swords of Justice. They all had the same base 35 happiness, which means that our return is actually not very strong right now. It's only about roughly somewhere between 75 and 80 base power. I don't remember off the top of my head at this point in the game, but it's just not really that strong. Usually we're coming into this end fight right here as we take this lovely Ferris wheel ride with about 90, maybe 95 base power return if we got a really good massage, but it's just not really going to be in the cards for Poniard. And as we get into this end fight, we're going to see that actually is going to be a bit of a problem. We're going to go for a Metal Claw, but unfortunately I get embargoed, so I'm gonna go for a dig. I probably didn't really need to, but then a dig onto the Scrafty means that we can't get the one shot, not even close, and we just get blown back by a freaking Brick Break, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Second time around, though, we are able to make it through. I live on 2 HP from the Scraggy Brick Break, and that is going to be able to let us have a win. So yeah, really close there. Gave me a little bit of trouble earlier as well, but we were able to not waste too much time here, and we can head into the gym. Pretty much nothing to really talk about in the gym. They're annoying, they have paralysis, they have double team, but we also have feint attack, so we can just kind of bypass the double team nonsense. And let's go ahead and face off with Elisa. So for Elisa, we don't really have too many other options than just kind of try to muscle through right here. Unfortunately, though, her Volt Switches are just doing so much damage. So sure, I'm able to knock out the Zebstrika, but really blacking out in this gym is just not really a good option. So I can't even take the experience that I'm getting from that. And yeah, it's just not fantastic. So second try goes pretty much about the same, but let's go ahead and skip to the third try. So on the third attempt, I kind of noticed a pattern that she was going for. She's always going for Volt Switch into Zebstrika, so I'm actually going to go for a dig on her Volt Switch. It's not quite knocking out that Zebstrika, but thankfully on the third try, we get a much better roll, and we are actually able to waste all of her potions and get a one-shot. So we just have to muscle our way through these Emolgas. First one goes down, very nice. We can just hit one more feint attack, and we don't get paralyzed, and we get a nice easy dub right there. So well, not really so much easy, but hey, it ended up panning out. So honestly, I probably should have spent a couple rare candies right there to get to 33 so I can get that guaranteed one shot on Zebstrika, but hey, it panned out. So let's go ahead, do a little bit of Pokemon dress up, and go face off with Cheren on Route 5. And for Cheren, now that we got Dig, we don't even really have to worry about his Pignite anymore. We can just kind of go for a couple Metal Claws, so we can work around that Torment. One Dig is going to easily knock out that Pignite, and then all he's got left is a Pansage. But at level 33, I'm actually going to accidentally learn Assurance. This is actually a decrease in both PP and base power, but honestly it doesn't really matter. So Dark type Stab at this point in the game just isn't really that necessary, and Return is starting to pick back up in power, so we're getting pretty close to Return just being our best option anyway. So let's go ahead and beat up a couple toddlers and head into Driftveil City. Pretty usual driftveil, we're going to grab the PP up, pop a repel, go grab the ether and the protein and the grass, and then head inside. Thankfully, the plasma guys don't give us too many problems. We do cut it really close against the dude with the Scraggy, because we still can't quite one-shot the Scraggy, which really sucks, but hey, we still got the dub. We get Clay to cart these guys off, and then we can go grab an expert belt in the market and head our way into the gym. Thankfully, the gym trainers don't give us any problems, even though we do have a type disadvantage here. So let's go ahead and face off with Clay. So we got a few things going for us in this fight. Of course, first thing is going to be Defiant. If he ever goes for this Bulldoze, it's going to lower our speed, but it's also going to raise our attack. Also, he's going to be boosting our attack with Swagger. However, as you saw, Swagger sucks. So that's really just kind of unfortunate. So let's go ahead and get into it second try. This time around, I actually put the Krokorok lower, which triggers him to heal, which is exactly what I actually wanted, because we can outspeed the Palpitoad, and now thanks to us having the Eviolite, Excadrill doesn't see the kill, so he's gonna go for a Hone Claws, and we can just knock it out with a +2 dig. So yeah, a little bit unlucky in that first fight, but that one was actually incredibly easy, not half bad. So let's go ahead and grab a couple Max Repels and Hyper Potions, and then go face off with Bianca on the way out of town. I genuinely cannot believe that I actually have to talk about this fight, but we get the Defiant Intimidate, I go for a Return, get to level 36, Dewott comes out, it barely lives, and crits me with Revenge. Ah, man, that thing had to have lived on 1 HP, and of course, I didn't save. I didn't think that this would be any problem whatsoever, so I have to take an incredibly slow Blackout right here. That's just unfortunate. However, second time around, I just one-shot everything, and we can move on towards Chargestone Cave. As we make our way through the Plasma Gauntlet, pretty much the only thing that doesn't just die to one return is this Scraggy right here, so we can easily power through that, heal up, and then just knock everything else out. We are going to visit the bottom floor, though, do a little bit of extra training, also grabbing the rare candy, but the bright powder as well down here. This is going to play a very important role later on for one of our hardest fights. On the way out of the cave, though, we are going to be running into N, and we really want to reteach Rock Smash here, because we do not want to have a 2-turn move against things like that Pharaoh Seed. Not only is it still a contact move, it means we're going to be taking Iron Barb's damage, but also it's going to have the chance to Iron Defense a lot more, so having a single turn move in Rock Smash is actually kind of important here for some Pokemon. So after that, we're going to head into Mistralton City. There's really nothing to say about the tower. We're just going to battle like 1 or 2 extra trainers for some good, quick, fast experience. And we're actually going to skip the nurse, because she has a fish with Wake Up Slap that gave me a blackout in my test playthrough. So no, I'm good. So after that, let's go ahead and meet up with Skyla at the top. At the top of the tower, we can ring that bell to send Skyla back to the gym, unless we say, hey, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this video. I know I said it at the beginning of the video already, but yeah, if you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. Like I said, I do these solo challenges in Pokemon Black and White at least once a week, so there's going to be plenty for you to watch. I have a nice little backlog and a playlist all set up for you as well. So yeah, I am not stopping anytime soon, and we aren't going to be stopping as we make our way through this gym either. No problems whatsoever. Let's go ahead and face off with Skyla. So Skyla does own one of the few Pokemon that can actually do a decent amount of damage to us, but yeah, it's not going to be that Swoobat. Swanna can come in and do a lot of damage with Bubble Beam, but she just pulls a Skyla and just sets up an Aqua Ring. Sure, why not? And then Unfuzzing gives us a Defiant boost. Okay, I guess she just wanted to give it up today. Why not? So yeah, easy gym badge. Let's go ahead and get shot out of a cannon and head towards Twist Mountain. Before I leave town, though, I do have to stop by this house, talk to the kid, and then go get the TM for Aerial Ace. It's not the best coverage in the world, but it is coverage, and it's going to be really useful for the couple of fighting types that we have to deal with coming up soon. First one, of course, is going to be Cheren. He's no problem whatsoever. We get to use that Aerial Ace right away on the Pignite. However, something really funny about this is his Pignite has no fighting type moves, and he will never actually click his fire type move in Heat Crash because the AI just doesn't select moves that have variable power like that. Just really funny. So let's go ahead, see Alder's wonderful bionic legs, and head inside. As we make our way through Twist Mountain, you see I'm going to be extra careful right here, especially around the trainers that have fighting type Pokemon. That guy has a Girder, and this girl coming up here, she has a Throw. And yeah, I'm really bad at getting past this girl consistently. So the Throw, it can potentially not kill us right away, but yeah, of course it's gonna knock us out. So that's why I set up a reset. And it takes me 3 tries to get past her without any problems. So yeah, I really got to find a good way to get past this chick. So thankfully the dude with the sock is much easier to get past, so we can pop out on the other side at Icarus City. Here we're of course going to grab that Brick Break TM, giving us that great dark and fighting coverage, covering all of our bases, and we can head into the gym. Say it with me, folks, Bryson is an absolute joke, because all we have is a 50 base power Metal Claw, and that is still going to be more than enough. Sure, we get swaggered by the Swag Bear, doesn't even matter, because all he's got left in the back is a Cryogonal. We power through that Swagger and knock it out in a single shot. Bryson, you really got to step it up. I even gave you a chance that time around. Let's head towards Dragon Spiral Tower. And it's time for story time. So yeah, not so much a story, I guess, but this past week was Veterans Day, so shout outs to all of my fellow veterans out there. Yeah, if you guys kind of didn't know or maybe forgot, I was in the Air Force, so yeah, shout out, yeah, go ahead, make the jokes, guys. Chair Force, all that fun stuff, I've heard them all, so it doesn't even matter. So, but yeah, so I was in the Air Force. I really enjoyed my time in there. I didn't serve too terribly long, but it was still some of the best time of my life, and I really enjoyed it. Also, let me meet my wife, and that's just awesome. Gave me a whole bunch of fun skills and stuff like that. So I was what was called an aerospace ground engineer, so pretty much all the equipment that hooked up to do maintenance on the planes, that's what I did. And so it was just kind of like a lot of diesel engines, you know, air compressors, you know, a lot of kind of stuff like that. Although there was one piece of equipment just really cool. It was called a Dash 60. It was basically a jet turbine power generator, and that was just really cool. So I actually got to work on jet engines a little bit, which is nice. So also it gave me a scar on my hand, because the way that these things are kind of like put together, they basically are just a giant box. So you had to have a couple guys grab each corner of the box to kind of like pick it up so you can get at like the internals and stuff like that. So there was one time we were picking up one of these, one of the hoods on it, right? And a bolt actually got caught onto my hand. So as we're going, you know, 1, 2, 3, and we yank it up, I actually got a gigantic chunk taken out of my hand. Oh, it was terrible. It hurt like hell. So yeah, I still got a scar on my hand because of that. So yeah. Anyway, so fun times. Yeah, it's totally what you're here to hear about, right? Mutilating injuries. Why not? So anyway, though, yeah. Once again, shout outs to all of my fellow veterans out there. If you're a veteran, go ahead and leave a comment. I will heart it and love it and all that fun stuff. Let me know what branch you served in and all that fun stuff. It's really nice to have all of you guys out there. So yeah, even if you're like me and you never got deployed and didn't serve very long, hey, at least you raised your hand, right? And that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's go ahead, see, and fly off on his lovely little dragon and head towards the desert. When we get back to Nimbasa City, we are going to be picking up a couple extra rare candies this time around. Not only are we going to be grabbing the one here in Anvil Town that I usually have been picking up, but also going out towards Route 16 and getting the one there that I have actually really been liking cutting out recently. So, as well as the HM for Strength, which we'll need for one later. So, after all of that, though, we are going to stop by the desert and grab the black glasses in the sand so we can have a nice thing to boost our dark type moves whenever we get to that point where we don't really need the Eviolite anymore. Speaking of dark type moves, though, we also pick up Night Slash along the way through the gauntlet, and finally, we actually have a move stronger than Return, so that's great. So let's go ahead, grab the rare candy, head towards Nakreen City, get a funny-looking rock, pick up all the rest of the rare candies, and then we can go head towards Route 8 to face off with Bianca. Before we face Bianca, though, I am going to battle this ranger right here with the Cinccino because we are very, very close to hitting level 50. And sure, we're not quite at our evolution level, but we have 7 rare candies in our bag. So we are going to pop all 7 of our rare candies. Once we get to level 52, we're going to delay that evolution and keep delaying it. Level 54, we get Iron Head early. That's great. And that's going to give us a nice upgrade to our steel stat. But we're not going to be stopping there. Level 55, keep on going, keep on pushing, because once we spend our last rare candy at level 57, we get Swords Dance incredibly early, and we can finally evolve. If we were a Bishop, we normally would have had to wait till level 63 for this. So yeah, those rare candies all paying off really well. We can also teach Brick Break, so we have that near perfect dark and fighting coverage, and with those black glasses that we're going to slap on, Bianca, you just stand no chance. However, we do have to give her contractually obligated showing here today. Defiant gives us that free attack boost, and that's all I need with my black glasses Bisharp right here. Simisear, easy drop, and that Musharna just gets obliterated by a Night Slash. Yep, no problems. Let's head into Opelousas City. As we make our way through the gym, I am going to respect Hugo today and drop a save. His Drudigun has given us trouble in the past, and it does have Revenge, which can do a ton of damage. Night Slash just barely misses out on the KO, but she just kind of hits us with a nice little weak hit, and there we go. Thankfully, all the other Drudigans in the gym are just one-shots, so we can easily make our way through and face off with our final gym leader. Alright, let's do this, Drayden. He leads off with the Fracture. It likes to dance. We're going to go for an Iron Head, though, and immediately knock that out. I will set up a Swords Dance onto the Drudigan. Definitely should not have done that, but hey, it is what it is. Would have been much safer to set it up on the Fracture, but who really cares? A couple Night Slashes, and we easily win our 8th gym badge. Easy peasy. Let's head out towards Route 10, do a little bit of extra training before we face off with Cheren. In our final showing against Cheren, you're never gonna guess what we're gonna do. We set up a swords dance. We get taunted, but it doesn't even really matter. So I don't know why I tried to go for another swords dance. I just did. We get to level 60 though. Not too bad. We are at a very solid level as we just power our way through the rest of this fight. No problems whatsoever. Break onto the Liepard. That just got wiped off the face of the earth. We get a nice free heal and we can head towards Victory Road. I'm going to do very minimal training here, pretty much only picking up the mandatories and the doctor at the very end to heal up. We do have to make sure that extra sure that we dodge that black belt, because there is no chance that I'm going to be able to take out him without some immense amounts of risk. So after all of this, we're going to pop out at the Pokemon League at level 61. Caitlin's up first. We got Black Glasses, Stab, Night Slash. Yeah, no chance. Goodbye. Reuniclus drops. Gothitel's gonna drop. Musharna, no problems there. And her weakest is saved for last in the Sigilif. One more Night Slash. There we go. Easy. Moving on. Chantal has the potential to give us a little bit more trouble, but not really. Coppergrigus, that's going to go down to a single Night Slash. Golurk comes out next. Of course, that's going to drop. Chandelure does have the chance to Flame Body us, but we dodge it this time around. And then in comes Jellicent, which is, of course, going to drop to a single hit. So, no problems. Moving on. Grimsley is definitely really scary. Of course, he leads off with the Scrafty. It has Brick Break and all that fun stuff, but he just chooses to go for a Sand Attack, giving me a Defiance boost. However, he does have some stuff in the back, like this Crocodile, that can do a lot of damage. But yeah, it's all good. We can just power right through. We only missed once onto the Bisharp. No problems. Get our time wasted a little bit with a Fake Out, and yeah, thankfully that Sand Attack didn't come back to bite us too much. However, we got one final major problem left. You already knew it was coming. It's going to be the big one. Let's face off with Marshall. Alright, so Marshall, there is a lot going on with this fight. First off, we are going to try to muscle my way through with Iron Head, maybe get some flinches and stuff. This is not the right play. I honestly don't know why I did this, because yeah, we definitely should be setting up a swords dance right here. However, we cannot afford to take a bulldoze. We need our speed to stay as it is. Otherwise, the Sock and the Mienshao in the back will outspeed us. So we set up a swords dance and we have to tank this Storm Throw. We can't even rely on something like Iron Defense or anything like that, which we do learn by level up because it's an auto crit. However, the Sock in the back here also has Sturdy, which means that we have to get an Iron Head flinch here to get the win. Yeah, not great odds. It is only a 30% chance to flinch, but as you see, we're holding that Bright Powder, and that kind of gives us a little bit of an edge right here. Not only could we maybe dodge the Storm Throw that we're taking, but we can also maybe dodge that Karate Chop, plus getting the flinch onto the Sock. Unfortunately, though, doesn't really look like the cards are in my favor, so let's go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. Alright, here we go. Throw leads. We send out that Bisharp. We set up a Swords Dance, and we take the Storm Throw. No problems right there. We don't have the Bulldoze. All we have to do is either get a dodge or an Iron Head to flinch onto the Sock. Iron Head onto the Mienshao. That's going to drop once again to get to level 64. Moment of truth, and we dodge the Karate Chop. Let's go. Only took us moving our reset counter up to 13. Yeah, we were here quite a while. Pretty much anytime I got the Bulldoze, because he does still have a chance to go for it sometimes, but most of the time he is going for Storm Throw. I just insta reset there, so at least those ones were pretty fast. So anyway, yeah, that was a rough one. Let's go ahead and see how Alder's dealing with N. N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground somehow, and it's gonna be up to us to chase him down through it because Alder couldn't hack it. Come on, old man. I know you got a steel type, but may I interest you in even better steel type in our Bisharp. So, but you can't have ours. He's about to just plow through these last 2 fights. So, yeah, we need nothing in the castle. Let's go ahead and meet up with the man in the throne room. By having a full party, we can deny adding Reshiram to it so we can lead Zekrom v Bisharp, and I was not joking. This fight is nearly unlosable. Sure, we don't one-shot the Zekrom, but it doesn't really matter. And yeah, we're just going to plow right through this entire freaking team right here. His team is also still incredibly weak to fighting, and yeah, Waterfall, we easily tank that. That's the best move that Caracosta has to hit us with, so it doesn't even matter that he lived. And there we go. Archeops goes down. No problems whatsoever. But, of course, Ghetsis is going to come in, throw his little tantrum, and then we have to take him down as well. Alright, let's do this. Ghetsis, he leads off with Cofagrigus. It can do nothing to us. We just get a free swords dance, and there we go. Easy. Hydreigon comes in. The entire reason we ran the Jolly Nature so we can outspeed that Hydreigon and knock it out with a Brick Break, and then everything else is going to just fall. Absolute dominant performance here from Bisharp in the last 2 fights right here, and we definitely earned it after all of that hassle that Marshall gave us. So yeah, of course we end our timer at the end of N's final dialogue, but yeah, this Mon was fantastic. Sure, not as good as Mienshao last week, but that's okay. You know, Bisharp had a few more struggles along the way, especially with Marshall, but I still really enjoyed this run, and I thought Bisharp did fantastic. And there we go. We see a final time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 29 seconds with 3 blackouts and 13 resets. Yep, this Mon is just awesome. Sure, it probably could be even better. Maybe we could optimize a little bit more and even get it up another tier slot, but hey, that's okay. I'm still pretty happy with this run, so let's go ahead and wrap up these credits and rank this guy. And there we go, a final in-game time of 4 hours and 40 minutes. Not half bad. Good job, Bisharp. And as we bring in the tier list, we see it sitting right there near the top of the C tier. I do think that we could probably optimize this, maybe get a little bit more lucky on Marshall, sure. And we can maybe even move this up into the B tier someday, but today's not going to be that day, and I really enjoyed this one. Now, I know that you might be expecting maybe a King Gambit little section at the end of this. I do actually have a King Gambit backport done, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to do just Bisharp. King Gambit will get his own time to shine later, I promise. But yeah, pretty interesting nonetheless. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, Mienshao and Bisharp, I kind of think of them as a duo. And it is actually kind of funny to see that we're almost exactly 10 minutes slower than Mienshao, which is pretty cool. And both of them can still be improved, which is nice. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said, and yeah, make sure that you come back next week, because thanks to a couple of comments, I've actually decided to run Scolipede. This is one that a couple of people have been looking forward to, and it's going to be a really fun one for sure. So anyway, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.